Welcome back. I just wanted to get with y'all after a post-tax day tea party. We try to meet once a week, sometimes once a month, sometimes more than once a month. But anyways, these are kind of our little tete-a-tetes, and what I mean by that is this is when you get together and you really discuss one-on-one the things that are going on with politics. So, anyways, since the last time we talked, there's been quite a few developments in the presidential race. One of them being Newt Gingrich, his secession from the race. No more less than cheese fries.
No more torch head.
You know, I was thinking that with Newt seceding the race to Mitt Romney, that there's been a turnabout in Mitt Romney that no one that has been conservative, that has been watching this primary from the start, has seen in Mitt Romney. I think that we don't see it in public, but Newt Gingrich is starting to write some of Romney's speeches or give him pointers on what to do, because I hear the same conservative message now, all of a sudden, coming out of Mitt Romney's mouth, but it's a different mouthpiece. Kind of like Rick Santorum has a conservative message, and he's a different mouthpiece for the GOP. So, while Rick Santorum is our man, and I'm dead serious when I say that, here's the buttons, I got the buttons to prove it. Mitt Romney may very well be our nominee. And, of course, everybody remembers Newt Gingrich saying, "I'm going to be the nominee." Okay?
The moon colony.
Yeah. I'm going to be the moon colony is going to be the next thing.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to kind of discuss the pros and cons of Mitt Romney. I want to say several things on the pro side, and I'll let you handle the con. On the pro side for Mitt Romney, he has a great idea when it comes to a balance sheet for the budget, or balanced budgeting, which is primo for conservatives that are trying to find someone that represents their interest in government. The other thing that he has is entitlement reform, and those kind of go hand in hand with what he discussed. The other thing that I see with Romney that Obama never has is job creation. Romney has a lot of influence. Obviously, he's of the affluent, but not of the super affluent elites of Congress. And some of the other people that we've been discussing, like John Edwards in private, because that's embarrassing, Senator Kerry, and other people that are of the party that scream, "Oh, you're so rich," but they're rich themselves. Okay. So anyways, now that I've handled the pros of Mitt Romney, I want you to give me some things where people might find him objectionable.
Well, he was born with a silver stick up his ass. And he always says, you know, he can relate to us and this and that. Well, it's kind of hard to do when you was born to a wealthy family. And I'm not hating on nobody because they're rich. It's just, if, you know, it'd be weird to hear Richie Rich say, oh, you know, he could be in a ghetto, if you will, and say, oh, I feel you.
I see what you're saying. So that narrative fits Obama better than it does Romney.
That's right.
You know, I was thinking the same thing until I started doing more research on Romney's life. And if I remember correctly, the story about his dad and his grandfather actually went back to his grandfather, because his dad is a citizen of Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. And how that all ended up happening was his dad kind of led the modern contemporary Joseph Smith going out of Mexico exodus for the Mormons of Mexico, right?
That's because they were kicked out of the U.S.
No, they were kicked out of Mexico or something like that. Anyways, they left Mexico in the exodus of Mormons. And this was like the second coming of Mormons since Joseph Smith. So they left, they went up to Utah, they increased the flock and propagated, of course, as the good book says. And then they went to Michigan. And his dad became successful off of his things that his grandfather had done with the Mormon Church and their money and Howard Hughes and all that, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other story. And Mitt Romney became who he was. So I really think that if we are to buy into the fact that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, it's not quite true. It's not quite the same type of money that when we talk about it in today's terms when it was back then.
Yeah.
So the money that the Romney family had came from the car industry. And he still wasn't like the type of person that would go out and party and waste his money like we see all these celebrities do. It ended up getting invested in Bain Capital. Now, I know Obama's been attacking Bain Capital with ferocity. We boycotted Bain Capital to get Romney's attention. And basically what I want to say about Bain Capital is that the boycott was so successful that 6 months later, Romney has completely changed the message of his campaign to actually engage conservative voters. And it's a good thing he did, because I'm really afraid that after Rick Santorum decided that he was going to suspend his campaign and Newt left, that we were going to end up going with Ron Paul as opposed to Romney, just because of the fact that we wanted that ideological conservative representation. Now, I don't agree with Paul on everything, but the whole point was Ron Paul has his followers, conservatives have their ideas, and conservatives felt they could get their way better with Ron Paul than they could with Romney, until he changed his message up. Now, are there any other things that are detractions from Romney that you want to talk about?
Well,
you said the relatable factor. You said that you didn't quite...
Another thing relatable factor was, I'm not knocking on Mormons, but it's not really a widespread religion here in America.
Right.
They tend to be known to be a little weird. Besides, they raised a stink about Kennedy being the first Catholic president.
That's true.
So, you know, one day, if a Jewish guy wants to turn over president, they don't make a big deal about that. Make a big deal about the first Mormon president. Hell, they made a big deal of the first black guy with Obama. You know, that stuff is just sort of always going to be there.
Well,
Mormons are known to be a little weird.
Obama, they made a big deal about him because he was the first Kenyan senator. So it wasn't necessarily that he was the first black American.
Yeah, but they don't make a big deal about Schwarzenegger being the first Australian governor.
Hey, no, that's true too. There seems to be a different perception of demographic and how the different groups of races of people interrelate to each other when it comes to politics.
I guess if you look at Schwarzenegger, you automatically think he's white minus the accent. You're like, oh, it's no biggie. Right,
so people overlook the fact that his heritage and culture are completely different because they're judging skin tone.
That's right. Obama's not 100% black, but they automatically think, oh, he's black.
Right.
You know? And I think he's got white in him. I'm sure he's got something else mixed in. So,
well, his mother was white and his dad was Kenyan.
That's what I'm saying. So...
Well, you know, when this first came up, I really thought it was going to be a problem for Romney and Rubio to run for president.
Because of their skin color?
No, not because of their skin color. Not because everybody's so on this new wave of, you know, racially diverse, you know, feigned unity tour, I guess. It's not like that. I was thinking more of the fact that since we gave Congress pure hell about Obama's citizenship, that if Rubio didn't have the pedigree, or that if Romney didn't have the pedigree, that would sink the GOP's chance of having a Republican president. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, well, Rubio's not a citizen. He was naturalized after his parents had been here for 5 years, or he was 5 years old. And then Romney, his dad actually did become a citizen, and that was why his father couldn't run for president, because he was the same way like Obama was.
That's right.
Yeah, he was born in Mexico. So anyways, here's our little bumper sticker. We want to talk about campaign gear. Of course, we can't wait, and we won't wait for Obama to create jobs. We're going to be working with Mitt Romney, Governor Perry, and Rick Santorum to create jobs and rally the youth vote. These were the youth vote scarves that I was talking about, and basically it represents all the different colors. We're not really concerned about ideology when it comes to the Tea Party. We know everybody has their own ideology, but we're concerned about shrinking the size of government, and we want to get the government about 1/5 of the size that it is currently. There's probably 150 million government jobs that need to be outsourced to be private sector jobs, or people that just need to leave the federal workforce role in order to support the fact that we have unemployment with 30 million people, because it takes 5 private sector people to employ one government worker. Well, we can't afford that or sustain it anymore. If all those government workers go back into the private sector, then we can hire the 30 million people if everybody creates some small businesses. And this is Small Business Week. I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, I have a small business, so that's really cool.
I try.
Yeah, he has a scrapping business. So anyways, with my business, the other thing I wanted to do was to honor the American spirit and other cultures around the world. America is not on a campaign to go and take people over to dictate their lives. We're not interested in that. We're only interested in defending ourselves and people who share the American dream with us.
Oh, spread the good word.
Right. In Syria, they have the idea that they want to have representation, and 9,000 people have lost their lives to try and get their government to change. And so I did this for them. Also, in Serbia, they had their elections, and